You've heard his voice. You've felt his energy. You might not have known his face, but the moment he said, "Enihi," the crowd erupted, because that was his sound. The sound of victory. The sound of magic. The sound of wrestling history itself. Howard Finkel, the Fink. The first employee in WWE history. The man whose voice announced generations of champions, heartbreaks, and unforgettable moments. But behind that thunderous voice was a man who quietly faded from the spotlight. Not because he wanted to, but because life had other plans. This isn't just a story about wrestling. It's a story about passion, legacy, and the price of giving your life to the business you love. Howard Finkel was born on June 7, 1950, in Newark, New Jersey. A soft-spoken kid from a Jewish family. He probably never imagined that one day his voice would fill the world's biggest arenas. Yet destiny had its eyes set on him long before he picked up a microphone in 1975. He joined what was then called the Worldwide Wrestling Federation before Hulkamania, before The Rock, before the Pyros and Titantrons. Back when wrestling was smoky halls and folding chairs, Howard was there, mic in hand, giving wrestling a soul. And when he walked into Madison Square Garden to announce his first event, something special happened. He wasn't just introducing wrestlers, he was creating moments. Every time he called a match, you felt it. His voice could make a small match feel like a world title fight. Fans didn't just hear Howard, they experienced him. The excitement in his tone, the precision in his timing, it all made wrestling feel real. For many fans, Howard Finkel was WWE. He was the bridge between the fans and the spectacle. The man who made the magic believable. But as much as he was the voice of WWE, Howard was also its heart. Behind the scenes, he was loved and respected by everyone. Wrestlers, announcers, and even Vince McMahon himself. He wasn't loud or demanding. He was humble, kind, and deeply dedicated. That's what made his later years so heartbreaking, as WWE evolved into the entertainment giant it is today. Howard began to step away from the spotlight. Younger voices took over, and the familiar sound of the Fink grew quieter. Fans noticed. Where was the man who made their childhood memories sound larger than life? The truth was, Howard's body was beginning to betray him. In February 2019, he suffered a stroke. It was serious, the kind that changes everything. Fans were used to seeing Howard full of life, his booming voice echoing through arenas. Now, he was in a wheelchair, his health deteriorating. For a man whose identity was built around energy and excitement. It was devastating. Those who knew him said he faced his struggles with quiet dignity. He didn't complain. He didn't want sympathy. He had given his best years to the business, and now he simply wanted peace. Bruce Pritchard, a close friend and longtime WWE figure, revealed that Howard had moved into an assisted living facility. Hearing that hit fans like a punch to the gut. The man who once stood at the center of the ring, commanding thousands with his voice, was now spending his days in silence. Away from the spotlight he once illuminated. And then, in April 2020, the news came. Howard Finkel had passed away at the age of 69. WWE didn't reveal the cause of death, and they didn't have to. Everyone knew the battles he'd been fighting. His body may have given up, but his legacy, that was untouchable. The wrestling world mourned. Legends, fans, and fellow announcers shared their love for the Fink. Some spoke about his professionalism, others about his kindness. But one thing was clear. No one would ever replace that voice, because Howard didn't just announce champions, he created them. When he drew out that famous knee, it wasn't just showmanship. It was emotion. It was a sound that made the moment unforgettable. Wrestlers said that hearing Howard call their name after a big win made their careers feel complete. But Howard's impact went far beyond the ring. He was a creative mind who helped shape characters and storylines. He's the one who gave Ricky Steamboat the nickname the Dragon. Think about that. A simple name that helped define an entire career. That was Howard. He understood the magic of presentation. Even though he was known for his dignity, Howard also had a playful side. He got involved in storylines that showed off his humor, like the hilarious tuxedo match against Harvey Whippleman. Or his Roman toga moment at WrestleMania 9. Fans loved it because Howard never took himself too seriously. He was in on the joke. He wasn't just the voice of wrestling, he was part of its family. And WWE made sure he knew it. In 2011, he called one of his proudest moments, announcing at WrestleMania in front of 93,000 fans. That night, the Fink stood tall again, his voice booming across the stadium. He later said it was one of the defining moments of his life. Even as the years passed, WWE never forgot him. He made guest appearances, lent his voice to major events, and even joined the reality show Legends House in 2014. A show that gave fans a glimpse of the man behind the microphone. But the most touching tribute came after his passing. During the 2020 Backlash match between Edge and Randy Orton, WWE played a recorded introduction by Howard Finkel. Hearing his voice again, introducing a new generation of wrestlers, brought tears to fans' eyes. It was as if his spirit had returned to the ring one last time. Howard Finkel's story isn't just about wrestling, it's about devotion. He gave his life to something he loved, and in doing so, became immortal. He was the first employee in WWE history. That's not just trivia. That's legacy. He was there when it all began, and in many ways, he was the beginning. His professionalism set the standard for everyone who came after. His voice became the heartbeat of WWE, and though he spent his final years away from the spotlight, he never truly left. Because every time a new champion is crowned, every time a crowd roars after hearing those words, Howard Finkel is there in spirit, in sound, in legacy, the man who once stood in the center of the ring, microphone in hand, surrounded by thousands chanting, "Fink, Fink, Fink," will forever be remembered as the voice that defined an era. Howard Finkel may have passed away, but he didn't fade. His voice still echoes in every wrestling fan's memory, timeless, powerful, and unforgettable. He didn't just announce the end of matches. He announced beginnings, the birth of legends, and that's something that will never die. So here's to the Fink, the man who made wrestling sound like magic. The man whose voice will echo through eternity. Thank you, Howard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the legacy continues.